What's up, guys? This is Miasin and welcome to the OCG metagame breakdown number 3. This time we're going to be going over 146 top performing decks, or rather the results from that. We're not going to look at all those deck lists, but yeah, and a couple of countries actually, but only during the span of like 2 days. But it's still really good sample size. It's still a decent amount of decks, and also this is pretty new, so yeah, looking really forward to checking it out as soon as you smash the like and subscribe button, of course. So the best deck right now is Yummy, actually above Dragon Tail, which is interesting because for the past couple of events, I felt like Dragon Tail was always the most represented deck, or at least not by like a significant margin, but Yummy is always like number 2 or maybe kind of tied. Malice sometimes randomly being a bit like better, but now the gap is starting to close. Actually, I say that Dragon Tail was doing better, but realistically, it was really a tie between Yummy and Dragon Tail. Now Yummy is just has like a bit of an edge. So yeah, really cool how I guess most builds are also just pure Yummy, and then some builds are playing with the Fiendsmith engine, and also one with the Millennium engine. I don't know if I really understand the synergy, but yeah, I mean, it's a great engine, good going first and second, so that's really cool. Dragon Tail, most builds are actually playing with another engine splashed in it. Majestus is the most popular, but Primite is like almost equally as popular, and even K9 is really good. It just adds like more in-engine hand traps to your deck, in a way, because you can Xyz summon on your opponent's turn, and then after that you can also fuse with the monster on your field. It's actually really interesting. This might be like very popular in the TCG, and it's one of the best ways of also like catching like your opponent off guard and also giving misinformation, because you play K9 cards in your deck, but you're not actually playing K9. Super splashable engine, by the way. I actually think that out of all the 3 new decks, so Yummy, Dragon Tail, and K9, K9 is the worst to play as a pure deck, but by far the best engine to splash in anything else. And we have even more versions of K9, so Fiendsmith, K9, Dragon Tail. So yeah, if anything, you can say that there were 5 K9 Dragon Tails out of the top 32, so yeah, it's pretty much tied with Primite. And yeah, obviously it's below Majestus and the pure build, which is, you know, it plays like King of the Swamp and Fight for Patchwork and all of that, but now there's like new innovations because I guess they're just getting tired of losing to Retaliating Sea, which also means that Memento should be getting a little better now, but it's not as good in the OCG, I guess. Nobody really wants to play that deck anymore. Anyways, Malice. Malice is Malice. The deck is broken, obviously. It didn't get really nerfed too much in the OCG, but I think this is, it's gonna be its last format, because Raziel got demolished. Like, that deck is actually garbage now. But yeah, Malice has just got like a little slap on the wrist, like, okay, yeah, limit Dormouse, limit whatever, and then call it a day. But that is clearly not enough to make the deck unplayable, because the ceiling level of this deck is insanity, and it has quite a lot of extenders. But yeah, K9, of course, I mean, it has a 92-something% chance of resolving the Paradise Smasher, which is basically Master Shock for monster effects, and it's very easy to achieve. It's almost like any combination of like 2 level 5 monsters will get you there. I mean, 2 level 5 monsters that are good, like Joe Cool and like something, should work. So yeah, it's a really, I mean, it's a really explosive deck when it kind of gets to start playing the game, but it's not as popular as Dragon Tail and Yummy, because I don't know, it's like the appeal to just playing pure K9 is not really there. It's just like you play a lot of weird cards as well, and there's no real normal summon in the deck. You're really just special summoning a bunch of monsters, so it just feels a little weird to play when all you really do is just resolve like Paradise Smasher, which is unfair. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it just feels weird. Whereas if you play K9 Crystron, shout out to my Crystron spreadsheet, by the way, I do plan on updating it when we get the K9 engine in the future. But yeah, K9 Crystron is like actually unfair, because there are infinite combos where like with 2 cards you can make like 7+ disruptions, and also you can bridge into your Crystron engine with the K9 cards, or the other way around. With your Crystron cards, you can also bridge into your K9 engine. This deck actually does have limitless potential, and I really am super excited to seeing it in the TCG. I actually think this will be in like the top 3 best decks. Right now it's like whatever, I mean, in 4th place, but last breakdown it was in the number 4 position, because it was actually more popular than the pure K9 build by more than a half, actually. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think just a matter of time before people see the light and understand that K9 Crystron is a best deck. But yeah, after that we got Primate Blue Eyes, another obviously decent deck, even though I don't think it's like super insane. White Forest, yeah, okay, I don't know. In the TCG, obviously this deck is also pretty cool, but there's so many taxes that you gotta like pay and play to, you know, have the ability to like play this deck at full power. Like the Azamina engine, garbage. Like all the Diabel cards, garbage. I mean, garbage to draw. They're good cards, but they're still like they're terrible to have in your hand. Like, when you look at your hand, there's like Diabellstar, Wanted, Deception, Hallowed Azamina, Diabellstar, the Sin Agitator, the Phileas Diabell or something, the Diabell Trap. You're like, bro, what is this? It's like, I want to see White Forest cards in my White Forest deck because they bridge into like every single other engine. But when you see like the Diabellstar cards and the Azamina cards, they actually do nothing for your engine. So you're negging like crazy because everything is like super card hungry, and then you're making a board that is actually quite manageable. And yeah, this deck just feels like it has way too many weaknesses. Like, it's like Droll, Perulia, Fueros. It's just like, it's too much. Obviously, Fueros is like, it's pretty manageable, and also Nibiru doesn't really beat you too much. The White Forest, like I said, I think the best engine in this deck is actually the White Forest engine. Everything else is just like, you're watering the deck down. I don't know. It just, obviously you need them because otherwise then the deck isn't powerful enough and you might as well just play Raziel Mitsurugi. But yeah, it just, I don't know, if you play White Forest, it's because you want to play the deck and because you enjoy it, not because you actually think that this deck is more powerful than Malice or Raziel Mitsurugi, because it really isn't, honestly. And by the way, I'm talking about the TCG and the OCG. Clearly, White Forest is not on the same level as everything else that is above it. Maybe it's better than Blue Eyes, but that's about it. Yeah, so it probably deserves its spot in like the top 10 best decks. Yeah, I think this is like a perfect position for White Forest. This is also what I could imagine and envision it doing in the OCG. But yeah, Orcus, the deck is not good. It's very bricky. I actually think that this deck is trash the way people played in the OCG. They play like 11 starters or 10 starters, and then their win condition is praying to God that they draw the perfect combination of 2-3 cards, and they get a hand trapped 2-3 times so that the opponent gets hand looped, and they still end on the same board. So you go normal summon Magnite, Orcus, Girsu, you get impermed, you make the link 1, you go effect, discard Harpor, you get impermed again, you go Harpor effect, your opponent goes Ash, you go Call by the Grave, and then your opponent has 2 cards in hand, and you still full combo. That's the way I have lost infinite games against Orcus. It's really annoying, but when that doesn't happen, and when you start drawing like those hands where you have like all gas, and then you get Chummied instead, then, oh, all of a sudden, your deck sucks and you've lost. Anyway, Standby Dragon, this deck is actually very good. Definitely in the top 10 in my eyes. Mermail, whatever, Regenesis Dogmatica, that's a pretty cool deck, and even in the TCG. Far King, that's pretty nice as well. Gem Knight, yeah, it's pretty garbage. Mathmech Adagnister, nobody cares, nobody plays it. Memento, Mekanko, whatever this is. Rika, Ryugi, that's pretty nice. Yeah, I actually do think that this deck is gonna get better eventually. Raziel, it's actually a rogue deck now. Imagine comparing Raziel to Mekanko and Ryugi and like Mathmech Adagnister. It's almost embarrassing. In a way, it's just like, I don't know. Dude, it went from like being unfair to just randomly being comparable to Shark. Imagine, in the TCG, Shark is actually like tier 5000. Unplayable. You've lost half of your extra deck from the ban list. No Bahamut, no Toad, no Dweller. So what are you doing? Stealth, Kraken, Pass. That's a nice deck you got there. Anyways, yummy. So now they're playing a Pointer of the Red Lotus in the side deck. That's absolutely fantastic. That is awesome. I'm really happy for you. The only problem is, I couldn't care less, because this is never gonna get unbanned at the TCG. It's one of the most cancerous and degenerate cards Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever seen. And they also have 3 anti-spell fragrance, which it's unbelievably stupid. I swear to God, sometimes their format makes no sense, right? But yeah, I mean, this deck, it plays a huge amount of hand traps, of course, in case you didn't know. 9 starters, but not really. There's like 6 other starters. The Quick Play spell is like a very broken card that also I think you can like recycle back your resources infinitely. So yeah, once you get the ball going, there's no stopping you. And yeah, 4, 7, 9, 11, 14, 16 hand traps. Yeah, with even more non-engine cards. Ultra consistent deck. I can negate Nibiru with Herald of the Arclight. I think it has like everything going for it. I think this deck is like actually just broken. It reminds me a little bit of like Sprite in a way in its playstyle. Sprite or like Purely, not really. I guess it's like the cards like they remind me of Purely, but the playstyle is like more, it's closer to Sprite. But yeah, fantastic deck for sure, and I actually do like it a lot. Dragon Tail is another deck that I do appreciate, and I think this deck is very comparable to Despia. Even the way you actually like splash some engines in it, like anything that just fusion summons, it's again very reminiscent to what Despia was always trying to do, but now there's, like I said, more innovations. So this is the Magistus version, and they can do quite a lot with one single copy of Spoon. Spoon is like one of your best friends. So by itself, it's going to search Zora, which then is going to be equipping Artemis, which obviously searches a card, and Zora is going to be reviving back the spoon, and then you can go into a Borreload Savage, and now that there's Artemis in the grave, you equip it back, so it gets in a gate, and it doesn't actually need to like keep the link equipped in order to have the Borreload counter. The Borreload counter just is obtained on the summon, and as long as it has it, then it can negate once. And then yeah, you're going to be going Artemis to Surge a Crowley at this point, and then Crowley summon itself, and then you're going to be banishing the spoon to equip Zora, the Magistus of Flame, from the graveyard to Borreload Savage Dragon. And then you make Snake Eyes Doom Dragon by sending the Artemis, so the link that is equipped to Borreload Savage, as well as the Zora that you equipped with the spoon. So that's a level 8 monster that's also a Broadbreaker, that's pretty cool. And then you're going to be going Crowley into Spirit with Eyes of Blue, so that you can use your dragon, and I think this is also a dragon or something, I don't even know. Yeah, actually 2 dragons in order to make Hieratic Seal. Hieratic Seal is actually insane for you. It's both an interruption, but also a card that special summons the Dragon Tail Mole, and then you're going to be fusing on your opponent's turn in order to use a monster in the hand, pretty much any of them, in order to make the Dragon Tail Altherion, so it's this boy right here. And then this can obviously bounce back cards like your opponent controls, and also Mole can negate the effect of one face-up monster the opponent controls, so it's another disruption, and you can set the Rahu Dragon Tail from the deck to the spell in Trap Zone. I think this is the normal spell, I'm not 100% sure, I actually kind of forgot. Whatever, because you can't use it anyways, the turn it is set. And yeah, you can, there we go, you can also bounce back the Crowley, the Gifted of Magistus, from grave to hand, which can then special summon itself from the hand, and then you can fuse again, or like something, in order to make Zora the Magistus Victorious Verethregania, which is this fusion monster, and I kind of forgot the effect, but I do know that it's broken. And it's a brand new card from Duelist Advance, I think? No, that is not true. No. It might actually be in the same set as like Spoon, which is a special set. Verethregana, hold on a second. So yeah, you need a Magistus monster and a Fusion Synchro Caesar Link. And the quick effect is that whenever a monster effect is activated, you can send a face-up Magistus monster card you control to the grave, negate that effect, then you can destroy one card your opponent controls. Okay, that's completely broken. And also this card is like kind of like an Alistair. It's always treated as Alistair, and on summon I think it fuses, something like that. So yeah, you're going to be fusing twice on the opponent's turn, once to make the Dragon Tail Rathios, hold on a second, what's the name again? Altherion, and then you're going to be recycling back the Crowley so that you can fuse again in order to make the Zora, or the Magistus fusion monster, which is a monster negate and a card that can destroy a card on the field. So yeah, you are making quite a lot of disruptions off of just Spoon and any monster card. It can be Spoon and Fueros. This deck can main deck literally 9 Shummies. It actually can afford that luxury if it wants to. It's just that this deck doesn't really lose to any one hand shop. And even though the ceiling level of Dragon Tail is not super high, the floor is mega high. Like, you're never doing nothing, and when you're getting a hand shot, you're still never doing nothing. And also, it's designed in a way where it is basically impossible to brick. Like, you're always drawing at least hand shops and like a way to eventually get to your engine, or you're actually just drawing full engine, and then that can translate into like, I don't know, searching hand shops or recycling back hand shops, or still making a decent amount of disruptions, getting your traps, etc. I feel like the only way to like actually just draw garbage in this deck is by drawing like maybe 3 normal spells and then like 2 trap cards, or maybe by drawing like all the big, like these 2 Dragon Tail monsters, and then drawing like, I don't know, something trash, like obviously the trap cards. Again, I'm really looking at them, and yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of good cards in here. Maybe Called by the Grave, I don't know, it's yeah, or like hand shops really. But then again, any deck can break on like 4 hand shops and node Raziel, or 3 hand shops node field spell, 2 hand shops node field spell star Raziel. That doesn't make your deck bad, it just means that you got unlucky and you got the worst part of the variance RNG on your side. But yeah, the side deck side's even more hand shops, because clearly 20 something is not enough, so we gotta bump it up to 30. This is ridiculous. Anyway, speaking of new innovations, some people, like I said, since they're fed up of Retelling Sea, they are now playing Blazing Cartesia the Virtuous. So it's actually a really broken card, because you go normal summon it, and then on your own field, on your own turn, you try to fuse, you get stopped, you don't care, and because on your opponent's turn, you're just gonna fuse again. Or if you actually never want to lose to Veiler and Impermanent stuff, you can play Perform Pile Odd Eyes the Solver. This card is actually really interesting. It's a Pendulum monster, which you have probably seen back in the Pendulum days, where like with Odd Eyes and stuff, so you can actually just fuse with its skill effect, using the monsters from your hand or field. It's basically polymerization, but it's a monster, which means that, and it doesn't take up your normal summon, which means that if you draw like a bunch of copies of it, then it can still be used as your fusion material for the Altherion, which then recycles back your cards and stuff like that, so it's completely fine. Whereas I think the King of the Swamp and Polymerization build, it's not that great, which is the reason why, like, obviously the pure build, it's not doing that much better than everything else, because, again, like, Yummy, for example, it's like, almost everyone is just playing pure but Yummy, but the pure build, it's only 12, and then after that, 20 other builds are playing with something else. So yeah, Magistus, very good one, Primite, and then K9, and stuff like that, but I think in the TCG, we're gonna have, like, I mean, Fiendsmith K9, obviously, if it dodges the Balance, it's probably gonna be the better one. Otherwise, I could actually see Magistus, Dragon Tail just being the most explosive. It's like the combo version of it, and I'm a super big fan of it. And also, I feel like I understand pretty much everything, the extra deck relatively well, you know, the Magistus cards, so that you also have, like, a lot of resourcefulness. It's really cool, I just like the Magistus toolbox overall. But yeah, anyways, Malice, this is kind of boring, because, you know, Malice is Malice. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing, like, super interesting here other than Spell Card Monster Reborn, which I do plan on making a video on very soon, because I think the card's kind of cool. It's kind of like a Shard Cannon, but obviously with less restrictions, and you can also target your own cards. So if your opponent's trying to Bestial you, you can chain Spell Card Monster Reborn, and then dodge the Bestial, and then also your monster stays in the grave. That's really nice. But there is something about this card that I think is actually unfair. So if you go first, and you get hit by Artifact Lancia in the Malice Mirror match, you can go, okay, activate Spell Card Monster Reborn, revive back your Lancia, and then on your own turn, I'm gonna Lancia you, because you can't activate the effect of whichever monster you summon off of Spell Card Monster Reborn during the turn you summon it off of the card. But after that turn is passed, then all of a sudden, that restriction is no longer active, and also you can't attack with the monster, and it's once per turn. But yeah, I feel like apart from that, a Quick Play Monster Reborn is something that we've all dreamt of for years and years and years, and I think it's, we can kind of say, officially speaking, that this card has a Power Crept Monster Reborn as a Yu-Gi-Oh card, just because being a Quick Play spell makes you objectively better than being a normal spell, even when your effect is, like, not as good. And obviously it depends, because, you know, sometimes Dark Ruler is better than Droplet, but then again, Droplet has a worse effect than Dark Ruler. It has more flexibility, it's a Quick Play spell. So again, this is what I'm trying to say when I compare Quick Play spells to normal spells, and I think that this card is, it's just gonna keep seeing more play now. This is a fantastic discovery. But yeah, there's probably, like, more reasons why you would want to play Spell Card Monster Reborn. One of them is noted here, where, you know, if your opponent goes, activate the Zuna on my turn, and then try to Foolish the Lupus, and then Lupus effect to try to Xyz Summon on my turn to make the Nash Knight, and then absorb a monster on my field, I can just say, nah. Spell Card Monster Reborn, steal your Lupus, no Xyz Summoning for you, nothing at all. I think that's really cool. Basically a way to, like, kind of dodge a hand trap. Sometimes it can behave as a Called by the Grave, or as an extender even. It can be great for a deck like this, I think. It's definitely fantastic. But yeah, that's it for Malice. The side deck, I don't really care about it, but a lot of nasty one-ofs in here. A Pointer of the Red Lotus, Dimensional Bear, and Black Goat Laughs with only one triple tactic thrust. This makes me extremely aggressive when I look at this. I actually lose my patience. I don't understand why you're playing 3 different normal chops with only 1 thrust. Please explain to me the logic. Like, you might as well play at least 2 thrust or play less normal chops. But why? 3 different ones? It makes 0 sense. I literally just don't understand anything, but it's okay. It's completely fine. And then K9. Bro, I've been playing the Imperial Princess Queen Carrie, or whatever, for quite a while. And it's about time that the OCG discovered that you can still Paradise Smash her with just Joe Cool and a level 5 monster. It's kind of obvious, but okay. Pretty sure it's also Nibiru proof if you are making, what's his face? Ripper on, like, summon number 5 or earlier, because obviously that negates a monster effect. But sometimes it's, like, randomly complicated to do. It's because of the restriction of, like, Joe Cool and Lantern. I hovered over Izuna, I'm stupid. So yeah, this is Joe Cool, this is Lantern. Both of them, when used, their effect to, like, special summon another level 5 from the hand or grave. You cannot use them as material for a light Xyz monster, which means which doesn't really change anything. But yeah, but no, it actually does change everything. Paradise Smasher is a light monster. There you go, Merry Christmas. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but you can do pretty much everything else. So actually, no Vimana. Yeah, that's also very frustrating. This deck list also plays the C. Hold on a second. Is that the Barian something? The dude that will make Masquerade, because Masquerade is actually pretty no, hold on a second. Maybe Umbral Horror Masquerade? Shit, I forgot. But whatever. one of the masquerades is actually really broken. It's like it negates a monster effect and then it rips a card from the opponent's hand, and then it also does something else. And it's definitely this one. It's the evolution of masquerade. So yeah, it's really cool how you can summon like unsummonable monsters now. Because obviously when you're just doing Nash Knight, it's like less interesting. But no, now you're actually doing more. You're hand ripping your opponent, and also you got the hand rip off of the play spell that summons Werewolf, and then when the opponent activates something, it's kind of like a Light Force Sword. You look at your opponent's hand, you banish a card until the end phase. Actually, that's closer to a pointer of the Red Lotus, which, yeah, is in everyone's side deck except this guy, because he's a nice guy. He's not trying to be like a, you know, an asshole against his opponents, which I can respect. Trickstar Engine is actually very nice in this deck, by the way. You can go Light Stage Surge the Corbane, and then you can lock an opponent's spell and shop, and then obviously special summon the Corbane. That's a level 5 extender, but you gotta start with that. You can't use it like after you play. I think it's kind of like a Memento Tatsuno Toshigo, I believe. It's like only if you control no monsters or only Trickstar monsters. Let me double check, because I have actually no idea. Trickstar Corbane. There you go, yeah, it's literally Tatsuno Toshigo. Okay, and it's been a while since I last saw this card. Thank God, I hate this deck from the bottom of my heart. And also the Zablaster, the turret something that is played in Cyber Dragon. Yeah, that card is like, it's alright. It's not insane. This deck just feels like it's not good enough as a pure deck, because again, there's no power normal summon. You're really just special summoning your monsters all the time, which is cool and all, but it feels like way too mid-rangey. In a deck, in a format rather, where we have Malice, which is super aggressive. This deck kills you at the speed of light. And then there's also Dragon Tail, which obviously the Magistus version and the Primate version, I do think they're very aggressive, but the pure build, it's like more mid-rangey. And then Yummy, it feels like this deck cannot OTK you, but trust me, with their field spell, all their monsters become gigantic. And every single one-card starter in the deck is an OTK. So you enjoy having fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this OCG metagame breakdown report. There's not much to see here. This mat looks absolutely insane, by the way. Oh my god. I really hope that we're going to be getting the same in the TCG. I have seen one circulating online, so maybe. But this is, so beautiful to look at, man. Even though they're not like, you know, monsters that everybody knows, because the Dragon Rulers, they're like classic cards from back in the days. But these ones, they're like the new Dragon Ruler rank 7 monsters. And they're really nice as well. Very, very broken. But yeah, by the way, maybe I might make some more Dragon Ruler videos in the future. I have no idea. Yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know how you feel about the OCG format in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.